Hello, GotAUkulele.com back with another beginner's tip video for you. And this one is to do with what I consider to be the absolute essential accessories that you should get when you're buying your first ukulele, or indeed if you're a ukulele player generally. Now, some people will write really long lists on this subject, and yeah, there's lots of things you can go to town with. You can buy accessories, you can buy fancy things, you can buy straps, you can find capos. All of those, though, tend to be related to things that depend on the sort of style you play. Some people like straps, some people don't. Some people like capos, some people don't. But this is a list of what I think, if you're buying your first ukulele, the absolute essentials that you should consider buying to go with it. The first one is an obvious one. It's the Clipon Tuner. It sits on the headstock and allows you to tune the instrument. It's got a readout on the screen. There's loads of brands about. This is a Snark. I prefer D'Addario, but you know, they all essentially do the same thing. Now, what I would say about clip-on tuners is don't get the absolute cheapest. Go for one that's got lots of gradations on the screen here. The more gradations on the needle, if you can just about see that, the more accurate you're going to be able to tune. And I'd also say that it's also very good technique to start to learn from the off how to get your ukulele in tune by ear. I don't mean precisely, but just generally there. These things are often confusing to people because they assume you just clip them on, turn the strings, and it magically does its job. No, you need to kind of get close as possible, and then you use these for fine tuning. Another point I'd say about clip-on tuners, I see people saying, do I need one that's specifically labeled a ukulele tuner? The answer is no, you don't. They all do exactly the same thing. They don't do anything differently. The ukulele tuner ones are basically designed so it's expecting the notes G, C, E, A. I personally find that a bit limiting. If you find one that is labeled as chromatic, that means it does all the notes in the scale, and that's what I should be recommending. This is a chromatic version. Number two, depending on what sort of tuning pegs you've got. If you have tuning pegs like these, which are gears, buy yourself one of these. They cost a couple of pounds. It's a string winder. You will be changing strings. And incidentally, one thing I'd always keep in the gig bag is a spare set of strings. But buy one of these. It fits on the peg and it makes the winding up much, much, much faster. The thing about geared pegs is one turn of the peg doesn't turn the post. One turn, it only turns it a fraction of that. So you need a few turns of these to get it to go round once. These are just a godsend. One little tip about these that a lot of people don't realise, they come with a little notch there in the end. That is for if you've got bridge pin where the strings tie on down here, they're pins, and you use that notch to hook underneath the pin to pull it out. Nice little tip. Now, if you have friction pegs, they will need tightening from time to time to adjust them. People think that these geared pegs can be tightened by tightening that screw on the end of the button. They can't. That screw just holds the button on. It's a gear that's doing the work. If you have friction pegs, though, carry a screwdriver to tighten them. A crosshead screwdriver if they're crosshead screws, a flathead screwdriver if they're flathead screws. Believe me, if you're out playing and they go loose, you'll need a screwdriver to keep them tight. Absolutely essential. Next thing I'd recommend carrying around, a cloth. And that's it. No cleaning products, nothing. Just a cloth. After you finish, your fingers are going to put grime and oils into the fingerboard. What I tend to do, just give it a wipe down. That's it. That's all it needs. Sometimes if it's particularly grimy, I will put the cloth underneath the strings like this and get the cloth underneath the strings, cleaning the other side of them. It just gives it a nice feel to the instrument, but that's all you need. You don't need fancy cleaning products. You need nothing else than this. If it's particularly grimy, bit of water, tiny amount of water, and give it a wipe. That's it. Do that at the end of every play, and that's it. Finally, I'd always recommend some sort of protection. If your ukulele comes with one of these thin gig bags, that's going to do nothing with a drop or stepping on it or that kind of thing. You could go to town and get a full hard case, but they're a lot of money. You could get a more padded case, but again, they're not great for crushing protection, my recommendation is always to go with one of these pod cases. They're kind of cheap compared to the full hard cases, but they're hard. You wouldn't want to run over it with your car, but they protect the ukulele. That's the safest place to keep a ukulele when you're not playing it. They go on the shelf in one of these. It protects them from humidity changes, temperature changes, stops them getting knocked, sat on, trodden on. That's just a really good investment. And do you know what? That's it. That's all I'd recommend. If you're buying your first ukulele, get a spare set of strings. Buy yourself a Clipon Tuner. If you've got geared pegs, get a string winder. If you've got friction pegs, carry a screwdriver. Carry a cleaning cloth and get yourself some sort of gig bag protection. Everything else is a luxury. Those things you're going to find are a godsend. The string winder for me is probably the biggest godsend. The amount of strings I change on ukuleles, I would never be without one of those. For the price of them, I've got dozens of these knocking around because I play guitar as well. The tuner, though, everyone's got a clip-on tuner. Just remember, they're not for getting the strings up from completely loose to tune. You've got to get close enough. Use your ears. Get it up. Use a reference pitch. Use a piano. Use another ukulele, and start to learn. What you'll do by starting to learn is your ears will tell you when it's out of tune, and you use the clip-on tuner to get back. These are for the final fractions. They're not a godsend for absolutely everything. And they are my essential items that I'd carry everywhere if you are starting out, or even if you're a seasoned ukulele player. You'll find that seasoned ukulele players will carry those things with them because they know that, they just know. But I hope that helps. Yes, you can go to town, you can get fancy lotions, creams, straps, capos, fancy digital tuners, you name it. The sky's the limit. But tuner, string winder and or screwdriver, cleaning cloth, gig bag. That's all you need. Take care, everyone. I'll be back with some more beginners tips and, of course, more ukulele reviews coming very soon on the website. Stay tuned.